Wait, listen. That, my friends, are the air bubbles escaping from the cake bottom of this Japanese pudding cake, and here are some tips if you want to try and make it. When making the caramel layer, be careful when you pour in the hot water because it will bubble, so please don't burn yourself. It hardens quickly, so be efficient when pouring the caramel into the mold. And then for the pudding mixture, make sure to turn off the heat for your milk just before it boils. You just want the vanilla flavors infused into the milk, but you don't want it to be too hot because we're going to be mixing it with some eggs. Lots of eggs, might I add. We're using 2 whole eggs and 4 egg yolks. You can use those egg whites for, I don't know, like meringue cookies on my website. And when pouring in the milk, you actually don't want to overmix this part like I did here because you'll see that I'll get a lot of air bubbles, but it's okay, it's still gonna taste good. And then moving on to the cake layer, you actually do want to whip up your eggs and sugar a lot here so you get this really fluffy batter. The biggest difference between this cake and desserts like Filipino leche flan cake is the cake and pudding ratio. I think this cake layer is pretty thin, but we still want it to be fluffy, so try not to overmix the batter. Assembling this cake is the best part. You pour your pudding mixture through a fine mesh strainer, and then when you pour the cake batter on top, it just floats because science. We're baking this in a water bath for 55 minutes, but it might be less depending on how strong your oven is. Make sure you let it chill in the fridge overnight, and then you can run a spatula around the cake before you flip it out and reveal. Remember, I overmixed this a little bit too much, but it's okay. Our bubbles don't hurt anybody. And the most important is the caramel soaking into the bottom of the cake, and then the sound. I think you just made a delicious Japanese pudding cake. You can find the full recipe on my website. Itadakimasu!